Wike came, a loss in High Court in the case, loss in Appeal Court, and judgment was already passed in Supreme Court.
Right, everyone, welcome to Post Media. Now, the what we have in the news today is that we have this particular interesting video which I want you to watch, which I want to share your opinion about. Is about this man of God in Niger Delta, Pastor Ibieyomie. Now, he's a Port Harcourt-based pastor, and I think currently he has the biggest church in Nigeria, probably in Africa, 120,000 sitting capacity church. Now, he said something about Wike, which we all know Wike has been somebody that has always been in the news right from time. In fact, since 1999, he was, right from the time he was a local government chairman, his political, he has been progressing politically up to this very moment. We have been in power for as long as we have Nigeria's democracy. Now, from 1999 to today. Now, of course, this man said something about Wike, which I want you to listen to.
Wike came, a loss in High Court in the case, loss in Appeal Court, and judgment was already passed in Supreme Court against him, not to be governor. I called him and he was shaking on phone. I was in Israel. I said, don't fear, don't panic. God will step in. He said, Papa, I believe. It was in PDP, APC was in power. And we are doing 5 nights of glory. After 5 nights of glory, he walked up to me. Judgment was Tuesday, 5 nights of glory was Friday. I looked at him and said, even if judgment is against you, I command it. It was not a money problem. He never had money because he was the opposite party. Judgment was, he too knew judgment was already against him. They told me how the judgment will pass, and then the chief judge collected the case, changed the Supreme Court judges, turned the case. He said, Papa, I knew this is God. I was the only one invited during his Thanksgiving as a priest. Listen carefully. That was not ended. The second time he came again, you all know it. Second time when he came, he was to lose the election. Already they've arranged how they will lose the election, and somebody walked up to me and said, you pray for Wike, we'll see how he will win. Asked him any day, I wanted the note he sent to me. He said, Papa, do I go off? I said, don't go off. God will step in. He was shaken because everything was against him. And I covenanted with God. I gave millions on behalf of Wike. I didn't tell him. I'm telling you today. I said, Lord, not for his sake, for my sake. And because the word will say, where is the God he served? I said, for my sake, step in. Not because of him. And I prayed a prayer. The day they were to change the result to give to one young man called Awara, they finished the result. On the spot, something happened. The High Commissioner stepped into the INEC. They couldn't change the result. That's how I became governor the second time. Wike came, a loss in High Court in the case, loss in Appeal Court, and judgment was already passed in Supreme Court against him, not to be governor. I called him and he was shaking on phone. I was in Israel. I said, don't fear, don't panic. God will step in. He said, Papa, I believe. It was in PDP, APC was in power. And we are doing 5 nights of glory. After 5 nights of glory, he walked up to me. Judgment was Tuesday, 5 nights of glory was Friday. I looked at him and said, even if judgment is against you, I command it. It was not a money problem. He never had money because he was the opposite party. Judgment was, he too knew judgment was already against him. They told me how the judgment will pass, and then the chief judge collected the case, changed the Supreme Court judges, turned the case. He said, Papa, I knew this is God. I was the only one invited during his Thanksgiving as a priest. Listen carefully. That was not ended. The second time he came again, you all know it. Second time when he came, he was to lose the election. Already they've arranged how they would lose the election, and somebody walked up to me and said, you pray for Wike, we'll see how he will win. Asked him any day, I wanted to.
Of course, he said that just as you watch that the Supreme Court was about to make judgment against Wike, and then he was outside the country. I think he said in Israel or thereabout, and then Wike called him, pleading, and then he said he assured him that yes, the judgment will be in his favor, and that is despite the fact that the judgment was like the judgment was against him, and the miracle happened that the judgment was in Wike's favor. Now, there are questions in the minds of the people. Is that how did that happen? Could that really be miracle? Considering the fact that we believe in miracle a lot in Nigeria, and we want to see how people react to miracle. But of course, this particular miracle is something that is surprising to a lot of people. That how can this man said he was able to um, change the course of ruling, which was against Wike, from the Supreme Court, and it's made that in bold statement. Now, Wike has not come out to deny this. Of course, this particular picture where Wike was directly kneeling down, and some people say it was at the time he became the governor. Now, the question now is that how true is this particular statement? And Wike has not said anything anyway, but of course, he has no ground to deny it, since there's a picture showing that he was actually kneeling down while he was being prayed for. Now, what do you think? What's your opinion on this matter? Why do you think this man of God decided to come up with this particular is it video or particular statement? Is it does it mean he wants to make people know that he has been part of Wike's political journey? Or do you think he's just saying that for cloud chasing, or that he wants to be in the news? Don't forget, this man too is a controversial pastor who has been making several controversial statements. What's your opinion on this matter? Religion and politics, that's just the best way to approach this matter. Religion and politics has been playing significant role in Nigeria and in some part of the world, but especially in Nigeria, Africa. Religion and politics has always been intertwined. What do you think this man of God wants to achieve by this particular statement? Is he trying to chase cloud? Now, if for those that are aware, or rather we are aware of the Wike's political journey, especially when he wanted to become governor. Now, do you think that Wike deserve that victory, or do you really think that it was the prayer of this particular man of God that changed the course of his, that changed everything for him? Let us not forget that if we if we look back at that particular election, Wike was having upper hand. He was so loud, and he campaigned vigorously, and then he won that election, and he was popular. What's your opinion? Of course, Wike has not come out to deny all that was said by this man. Hit me up in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you feel. I've seen other videos.